nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here, as we always do on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want to help you win, help you understand things happening on a global scale, but also, more importantly, locally here in Tampa Bay.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
We'd love for you to reach out to our hotline. Anything you hear on the show today, reach out. We'd love to connect with you. 813-750-0550. 813-750-0550. That's the Consumer Advocate Hotline. Of course, hit the website as well. Any questions, you can submit an email form at consumerqb.com. We're going to have Ray Dalio commenting on the world currency, the reserve. We got Diane Vance going to talk about quantitative easing here on the Consumer Quarterback Show and what that might mean in the future as far as the United States currency, the world currency being the U.S. dollar. Big Ten football is back, also Mideast peace agreement. And we have a clip from Peter Schiff as well talking about commercial real estate. We're going to talk about that with Ray Hall Appraisals here on the Consumer Quarterback Show as well. Coming up, Millie Athanason as well, attorney Millie Athanason, going to be on the show today as well, talking about things happening in elder law and probate avoidance, all those types of issues. But another great show lineup for you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we want to thank Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties, and we would urge you to reach out and support her, support all of our local expert contributors here. Over 50 different show partners, 80 categories, all supporting the local Tampa Bay economy right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. And we have, Jade's Premium Quality cleaning a lot of our real estate properties. They do a great job. They're COVID-19 certified as well, so they can help you in that space also. And a couple of hot listings for this segment. We've got 13204 Fawn Lily Drive. We got open houses going on this weekend at 13204 Fawn Lily Drive out in Riverview. 4,511 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 5 bath, 3-car garage, resort-style amenities, covered screen and lanai with a water feature in the back. Beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. Also, 1010 Bay Esplanade, one of my favorite listings right now. It's on Clearwater Beach. It's on the north side of the world's best beach, listed right around $800,000. And you've got 3,151 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage, private apartment, and a private sun deck on the 3rd floor. Just a gorgeous property here. And all the photography, of course, compliments of Fairway Frameworks. They do a great job shooting our real estate properties with the videos as well. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, let's jump right into it. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, our finance expert, mortgage expert. Welcome back.
Hey, good to be back, Brandon. Today I'm going to talk about quantitative easing, what that means.
Yeah, exactly. What does it mean? What's going on? What are the risks of continually printing money? It's unbelievable.
Let me explain what quantitative easing is first. If you want me to go into that now. It's a monetary policy in which a central bank, it purchases long-term securities from the open market so they can increase the money supply, hence print more money, and encourage lending and investment. And so they buying the securities adds new money to the economy, and they put it in the form of mortgage-backed securities, which serves to lower the interest rates. So they bid up the fixed income securities, which then it expands the central bank's balance sheet, which is what you are referencing, is that we are printing more money. Now, it's interesting because we started the Feds actually started quantitative easing in November of last year, before COVID. So they were seeing some things in the economy that anytime you get close to a 0% on your overnight lending, your Fed fund rate, that is when the quantitative easing usually goes into play. So in March 15th, when COVID did hit during the pandemic, the Federal Reserve, they planned over $700 billion that they were putting into the mortgage-backed securities and other securities to keep the market flowing. It usually they're buying government bonds and other securities. So it in effect the problem in effect it actually keeps the lower. It helps the interest rates in the long term. It helps the interest rates. However, if they stop, then what happens is you don't have all of that money into that market anymore.
Right.
So it does the opposite. So you cannot continually keep doing quantitative easing because it reduces our dollar in the market. So
so other countries are going to start at some point saying, "Hey, man, these Americans, they keep printing money. What is their dollar really worth? What's the exchange, the foreign exchange, the currency exchange markets, or forex? They're going to start saying, "Hey, what's it worth?" And then Ray Dalio actually commented on that. So we'll dive deeper into that. Let me go ahead and introduce Ray Hall as well. Ray Hall in the house. He is our expert when it comes to all things appraisals and values here in Tampa Bay. Welcome back, bud.
Thank you very much. Always enjoy being here.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah.
My pleasure, absolutely. So we're going to play a clip from Peter Schiff. He's a pretty well-known investor, and he's talking about commercial real estate market, and we talked about it months ago as well.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so a lot of things happening here in Tampa Bay, and you're out there doing a lot of appraisals every day, staying busy.
I've never been 15 years. This is the busiest I've ever been. If there's any appraisers out there looking for work, we're hiring. We're posted for that. We're expanding our support staff, our appraisal staff, because there's just so much to do out there with rates that low. There's a lot of refinancing going on, but again, like we've discussed before, we're in a state with no state taxes.
Yep.
A low, basically a low cost of living. And I think we're getting a lot of people from up north. I was talking to my own brother who lives in Chicago right now, and he's looking at houses in Tampa because he said himself, if I can work anywhere, why am I working in a place where I have to pay state taxes?
Exactly.
And It makes perfect sense. And, you're going to have that kind of exodus out to these suburbs now. Because I think that option to work from home is going to be around for a while.
Absolutely. Zoom and just so many ways people are doing that. You're seeing more and more folks. We talked about, the world's number one podcaster, Joe Rogan, moving from California. Just heard that Ben Shapiro, another well-known media head, moving away as well. I think he's moving to Nashville.
Yep. So
a lot of things happening in the real estate market, and people are moving away from those crime-ridden cities. A lot of times it's the liberal-run cities that are just kind of allowing this to happen.
Yeah, obviously safety is first for everybody, and you want your kids to be in an area where you can send them to school and be comfortable with that. And like any city, we've had our issues here in Tampa, but it's been we've been doing well. It's still a great place to live. I'm out. Any given day, I'm driving through 5 different counties. And so I see a lot of areas every day. I'm in a lot of neighborhoods every day, and I've yet to see any significant problems out here. Tampa's still a safe city, still a beautiful city, and there's so much to do here. A lot of places in the Northeast are still locked down too. A lot of people still have nothing to do. And, I know me and you are out there boating all the time, and, we can go to restaurants. Our bars are open.
50% capacity. Bars are open. I heard I heard on Salem this morning. I was listening to Hugh Hewitt. They had mentioned that over down in Tampa, they were, some of the police were saying, hey, here's the rules. Make sure you enforce it, bar owners, this time, so you don't have to shut down again. Right.
Yeah. And that makes sense. And I think everyone's done very well with, trying to keep everybody safe and keeping everybody healthy. But, to a degree, you got to get that economy going again.
Yeah.
It's not good to just, keep it on lockdown and stall that economy. And I think that's why, our area is really doing well and faring well through all of this.
Sun sanitizing. Yeah. Out on the waters, the Freedom Boat Club. So we got Ray Hall in the house, Ray Hall Appraisals. We also have Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, on the phones. Diane, I want to go back to you here, and I want to talk about the central banks could be forced to serve as currency defense mechanism. So the U.S. dollar's demise as the global reserve currency isn't imminent, but a threat looms as the Federal Reserve and global central markets increasingly monetize government debt. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio warned in a Tuesday interview with Bloomberg Television. Quote, "There is a threat. It's an evolutionary type of process. There's not yet a good alternative in the form of a currency per se." That's the Bridgewater Associate founder Ray Dalio, and I believe he's the 18th richest man in the world.
I think he knows what he's talking about there, huh?
Yeah. I think so.
I think so. So, they keep printing money. And, the thing is, we talked about quantitative easing. It increases the money supply. So that's the reason they do it. And that's probably a good reason to do it, because you can have a couple of things happen, though. When the central bank starts increasing the supply of the money, it can cause inflation. Okay. So there's a fine line, and nobody's experienced this, COVID and, having to print more and more money and having to do the quantitative easing. And the government has done this for several times. I mean, back in the crash, they did it. They started doing it, like I said, in November. So there was things that even before COVID were starting to look suspicious.
Yeah.
So interest rates were starting to move, and so that's why they did it. And it does keep the interest rates down. The problem becomes when they decide to stop doing it. And that's when you'll see interest rates starting to move up, when they stop actually deciding to put money into the long-term government bonds and other securities and increasing the supply of money. So when they do those things, they print money, right? So that's exactly what you're talking about, is the more money you print, we don't have it backed by gold anymore. So it's just paper. So the paper, what happens is our dollar weakens, and, other countries, their dollar strengthens. So, our vacation to Canada or Europe or someplace like that may actually cost us more because their dollar is stronger. But you're talking about something that is happening, and it's going to continue to happen for a while. And I believe that, the 18th richest man in the world definitely knows what he's talking about. So
he does, yeah. But there may be some debate that he may be out of touch. Does he appeal more to the top 5%, the top 1%ers, and is he a little bit out of touch with the 99%? That's what I've seen as far as debate goes. But the article goes on to say large institutional investors aren't necessarily running out to embrace alternative currencies because the yen and the euro have the same problem as the U.S. dollar. He said, Instead, investors are looking for new strongholds of wealth, including equities, gold, and other asset classes that go up.
Right.
So to your point, when the funds are low, when we're doing that, we're reducing the quantitative easing, print and paper. The federal funds rate is reduced. There's more investment in real estate, in businesses. There's people refinancing, pulling cash out. And on the flip side of that, I feel bad for the seniors, because the seniors aren't making as much on their retirement now.
Oh, absolutely. And if they want to be in a safe retirement, I mean, you can't even get, I don't even know what a CD rate where
super
they
low,
it's like less than 0.25%. I think it's like 0.1012 or something like that. Yep. So unless you're willing to go out and invest in the stocks, and that's a whole nother ballgame, which a lot of seniors are not willing to do that. And that's another situation. But Europe and all the other countries have to do the same thing that we've done with the quantitative easing. So they are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it definitely affects, you're right, people, then they start going back into the commodities of gold and silver and those things that they're comfortable with. You can see those fluctuate, and they go up in value as we print more and more money. So, it's a different world right now, and I don't know that anybody knows exactly what the long-term outcome will be. We will get out of this one day.
Well, Ray Hall's going to tell us right after this break. I'm going to have Ray. He's got his crystal ball here with him. He's going to tell us when we come back.
Ray, tell us what to do.
I will.
We're going to take a quick break here, guys. We'll be right back with you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, we have a feel-good story of the day. Domino's Pizza makes largest ever donation to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Follow us online. We would love to connect with you at Consumer Quarterback Show on Facebook. Of course, we have our at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show, as well as the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty on Facebook. We'd love to connect with you there. And we got a couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay that we'd love to talk to you about as a listing agent. We feature our listings in ways that other real estate companies don't. And here's an example of 6128 Oak Ridge Avenue in Newport Richey. This is a property that is a gorgeous home. It's a large home. You got 4,100 plus square feet, a full acre of land right on the waterfront, right on the river in beautiful Newport Richey. You've got bay access. And bring your boats, bring your jet skis, 4 bedrooms, 4 bath. You have a separate garage out there as well. Just a great opportunity to own real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay, one of the hottest real estate markets in the entire United States. 8001 U.S. Highway 301. This is out in Riverview. This is a large asset. It's 2 buildings for the price of one on one parcel of land, a busy corner intersection right here in Tampa Bay. 2 commercial buildings, 4,181 square foot combined, 33 parking spaces, 50,000 vehicles a day driving by. It's a busy corner lot, traffic corner at 301. It's known as the Riverview Sandwich Shop, available for sale right now out in Riverview, Florida. Check out all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got Diane Vance on the phones and Ray Hall in studio. So, Ray, I want to play a quick clip here. This is the Peter Schiff commenting on commercial real estate. I'm going to play a quick clip here.
I mean, commercial real estate is going to get killed for so many reasons. It was in trouble, I think, before COVID. But COVID, again, just accelerated the process. But obviously, if you are a retailer, you know, no one's coming into your store. You're a restaurant, if you got a gym, if you got a movie theater. So you're not collecting any rent. So you want to default. And so now your landlord's not getting paid. And he might have a mortgage. And now he can't pay because he's not getting rent. You've got all these office buildings where a lot of...
All right, I'm just going to stop it there. But you know where that continues. It goes on and on. It's the trickle effect of the landlord's not getting paid. The landlord's not paying the bank note. And yes, there's been some moratoriums in place, but I'm not sure if those are effect for commercial real estate, is it?
I'd have to do some research on that. You know, there is that moratorium on evictions, things like that. But, you know, even if with the moratoriums in place, a lot of these places aren't going to go back to brick and mortar buildings anymore. Yeah. A lot of these businesses are going to find out I'm saving a lot of money by not having that building. You know, take my business with appraisals. You know, I've always worked for companies that had brick and mortar buildings. I run my entire company basically out of the office of my house.
Yep.
Everything is virtual. Everything is in place now that you don't need a building.
Well, I often joke about it when people ask me where my office is. I said, well, it's sitting in your driveway right now. If I want to
Exactly.
listen, it's my Mercedes SUV.
Yep, exactly.
I'm in the car all the time.
I put 60,000 miles a year on my car with my driving.
Yeah.
That's where I spend most of my
So
day.
you're not leasing then, are you?
Oh, good Lord, no.
That'd be a trouble leasing.
No, that'd be horrible. So
the overall
crazy.
outcome, though, and then you look at the different sectors of commercial. It's not just office. It's you've got the retail. Retail's getting pounded right now too.
But they've been getting hurt for years too from places like Amazon.
Yep.
And again, which is a virtual store. You can buy anything you want. They have more products than Walmart.
They're getting into podcasting now too.
They get into everything. I listen to my music through Amazon. I have an Amazon Prime account. I watch TV through them.
Yep.
They probably have one of the best business models we've ever seen.
Yep.
Granted, they do own real estate, but that's industrial, and they have the large warehouses, and products have to be distributed somewhere. So maybe that won't be hit as hard, especially with the amount of people who are now online shopping, things like that.
They're dropping drones out there now too.
Are they doing that yet? I know they talked about it.
I saw a couple test drives going. They're test driving some drones.
I think we're in an area too where we would get to utilize that, since we have that big one down in Ruskin.
Yeah.
But the problem is going to be in the office space. I think there's going to be a transition. Because what's going to happen is a lot of people, and as someone who works from home, I can tell you this, they're going to get sick of working at home. So I think they're going to maybe start doing these shared office spaces. I think that's going to become popular.
Co-workspace.
A co-workspace. It's a very low monthly rent. You can show up if you want or don't. They usually have internet available for you. And you can still get some interaction with some people.
It serves as a networking
Exactly.
spot.
I have a friend who runs his company out of a shared workspace, and he's actually gotten business just by networking from the people within the building. So, it's a great way to do business, but, I drive down I-75 and I see that large Citibank complex, and it's empty.
Yeah.
And I know they had just purchased that back right before COVID, and now it's completely empty.
Let me go back to Diane. Diane, any comments on the commercial side of real estate, commercial real estate?
Well, it's interesting because, Brandon, I had an operations office and our sales office, two big. I mean, they were 3,000 square feet each. I actually just leased my operations office. I had an attorney that wanted to move over there. He actually owns a title company, so it worked out very well. So I actually gave up one of my leases, and I actually gave up another lease in another place. So we're very effective at home. So I believe that is probably the trend for the future. I think we're finding that we're very productive. My people are very happy, but I think you're right. Ray's right. I do miss the people. I still have my sales office, and I still have my Wesley Chapel office and my Mount Dora office, but we're doing shorter term leases.
Different markets. The Miami condo market is a different market there. It's a buyer's market versus a seller's market. What we're seeing here in Tampa Bay, limited inventory, challenges with on the buying side. If you're trying to find a buyer, a property for your client, very challenging right now. You got to be very creative, and it's an interesting time to say the least. So, Ray Hall Appraisals, check him out online. He's got his $125 owner's use appraisal. You can do that for commercial, but it costs a little bit more, much more. And Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage as well. Support our show partners, support our team. This is our team. I'm the quarterback on the team, and we've got all these great folks, professionals surrounding us, helping us educate you as a consumer, but also serving the community as a consumer advocate in their profession. So thank you to Ray Hall Appraisals, Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Coming up, attorney Millie Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, plus our feel-good story of the day about Domino's Pizza making a large donation to St. Jude. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Johnny, can you hear me? Let me know when you're ready. I am good with Millie's audio in here. Alrighty. Everybody, please stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm a top 1% realtor in Tampa Bay. I'm a published author, professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon. Become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves. We're almost done with our third book now as well. We're writing that with Eli, the ghostwriter, the godfather of ghostwriting, his team, Lisa, who you've heard on the show. We're almost through with that third book. I'm hoping to get Gary Keller himself as a contributor to the book or to write the intro for the book. So excited about that. A lot of good things happening around here. We've got attorney Millicent Athanason joining us here in the studio. Before we jump into that, I would like to thank one of our sponsors, the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, is the Bilmar Beach Resort on Treasure Island. They've got 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and a lot of amenities. Great opportunity to get out and see the best of Tampa Bay, the coastline of Tampa Bay. Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we got a couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay, 12208 Four Oaks Road. This is a development opportunity. Attention builders, developers, where are my investors and entrepreneurs? In the first half of the show, we just talked about some of the challenges right now for investors, with the currency exchanges, some of that stuff. This is a great opportunity. 5 acres. You've got a small house on the property, but this is more of a development opportunity. It's R9 zoning, 40 acres. 40 units on 5 acres right here in Tampa Bay. Great opportunity, $1.8 million listing, and owners are looking for offers at 12208 Four Oaks Road in Tampa. Also, 520 George Street South in Tarpon Springs. This is in the Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs area, kind of on the east side of the lake. 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs, 3,600 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. You've got a second floor private master suite, lakefront, mother-in-law suite, wood-burning fireplace, and a private boat dock as well. Great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. All right, we got attorney Millie Athanason back in studio. Good to see you, Millie.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. I appreciate you always bringing in great notes. Last time we talked a lot about some of the challenges and the scams out there, consumers getting hit with scams and all that kind of stuff. This time we got a little different topic.
Yes, well, I do want to touch upon the scams. There is a scam out there right now. It's that time of the year with the holidays kind of coming upon us before we know it. Gas station scams.
Okay.
If you're going to go to the gas station and pump some gas, use a credit card. If you have to use a debit card, please don't use it. Put your PIN number. Use it as a credit card or just go inside and pay, because there's been a lot of problems with that right now. There's a lot of reports of crimes going on with the skimmers and the readers.
Yep.
So just something to put out there.
You should be able to look at it, too. From what I've seen, you can sometimes pull on it a little bit if it comes off easily, but if it's pretty solid, then it's probably not a scammer there.
Yeah, probably not. But these days you don't know, and it's better, I think, to be safe than sorry, because it's a real headache if you have to go through and cancel everything and then start all over again. So that is tough.
Well, that's a good rule of thumb as well, just to have instead of running things as a debit card, which goes directly out of your bank account, reduces the funds in your account. Run it as a credit card, because then you have more legal rights, I believe, and more protections.
Yes, absolutely, because you have the right to challenge it, whereas using it as a debit card, you don't.
Right.
So that is very significant. And
so always run it as credit unless you're pulling cash out. I guess I'm in a habit of doing that sometimes when I go to Publix. Give me $50. I need cash.
Right.
But the idea of that. So Attorney Millie is right here in Tampa Bay. She's a local attorney. Again, another great example of our our contributors to the show, legal analyst here, and she's brought in some really cool notes for us about voting in Florida. And it's that time of year. It's that time of the 4-year cycle too, isn't it?
It is. The elections are coming up on Tuesday, November 3rd. It's really less than 7 weeks away. And, when I was doing some research on this, I realized that we have a population in Florida of about 21.48 million people, and that there are approximately 4 million people that are eligible but are not registered to vote. I didn't know it was that high. That's like almost 20% of the population that's eligible to vote.
What do you think's going on with them? They just don't care. They're busy with other things. They're convicted felons. I mean, there's a mixed bag, I bet.
Well, there's a mixed bag, and I think a lot of people have the attitude, well, I'm not going to go to the polls because, my vote isn't going to count. It really doesn't matter. And I really beg to differ. I guess being a lawyer, democracy is something that's near and dear to my heart. It's what I've spent my career upholding and pursuing legal matters. So, voting is at the very heart of that. And so it's very significant to me. And so if you are not registered, but you are eligible, please get out there and register to vote. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, how do you go about that here in Florida? What do you do? Who do you call? What do you want? Nowadays, as you know, with technology, you can pretty much almost do anything online, and that includes registering to vote. So that's a good thing. You can go right online. And what I did is on the notes here, and I can go over it, but I actually listed the supervisor of elections offices for the 3 counties, for Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough.
Beautiful.
So that people can actually contact them directly to go in. You can go online, but if you don't have access to a computer or you're not computer savvy, you can call them and ask them to mail you an application, or you can actually go into one of their offices and actually apply in person the old-fashioned way before we did everything online.
Right.
They even they'll mail it to you, or you can download it and you can actually fax it in. So there's many different ways that you can actually register to vote that's convenient. Now, what does it mean to be eligible to vote? Well, you have to be a U.S. citizen. Green card holders don't count, and I guess there's some misconception about that. A permanent resident is not the same thing as a United States citizen, so you do have to be a citizen. You also must be a Florida resident. Now, a lot of controversy is centered around this mail-in ballot stuff. And how mail-in ballots came to be is historically in Florida, we're the snowbird state where people come from up north and they're here sometimes and not here sometimes. So the concept of mail-in ballots came because people were out of the state. So it was called absentee voting. And they would mail you the ballot, and then you would go ahead and fill it out and send it in. Well, that kind of matriculated as time went on, and now they'll allow anybody to go ahead and get a mail-in ballot, not just people that have other residences or are out of the state or otherwise absent. More convenient, exactly. Yeah. And in today's world, everything is being done online nowadays or mail-in, so convenience seems to be certainly a priority for Florida residents.
Yeah.
So definitely you can do that. You have to be you can't be a convicted felon, and if you are a convicted felon, your rights have to be restored. And I know there's controversy about that because I saw that you had somebody from, I think it was the Innocence Project or somebody talking about how to restore rights. Yep. and the problems that have arisen with convicted felons not being able to get notified as to how much they owe in order to pay off, but they do have to satisfy the financial obligations of their conviction in order to get the voting rights restored.
Which that one, to me, it's some people say, well, that's a poor tax. These people are poor, they got arrested, it's a poor tax. Right. I see the debate on that, but I just feel like, if they've contributed, let's there might be a reason to revisit that on a case-by-case basis if it is an extreme circumstance. But I feel like that's, hey, if you committed crimes, you ran a car in, tore somebody's business up, I see both sides of the argument, but yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yes, and then also you cannot be mentally incapacitated. And what that means is that you're legally mentally incapacitated. That's a judge has adjudicated you to be incapacitated, not because your family members feel you're nuts. Yeah, right?
Come on, man. Yeah.
There's a difference there. So, and if you were mentally incapacitated, you have to have your right to vote restored, because when you're declared mentally incapacitated, they take away certain rights and then give those to your legal guardian. So once that right to vote is restored, then you can go ahead and register to vote. And so what do you need to register to vote if you're going to vote online? That's another question. Well, you need a valid Florida driver's license, or if you don't have a driver's license for whatever reason, if you have a state-issued identification card. And Florida does have that. If you go down to get a driver's license, it's the same place that you go to do that. You can get a Florida-issued ID. And then you need to have the issue date, which is on the face of the driver's license or the state-issued ID. It shows the date that it was issued. You also have to have the last 4 digits of your Social Security number, and that's in addition to the other information, such as your name and your address and your contact info, that type of thing. Other ways to register to vote, you can go to the Supervisor of Elections office for your county. Again, you can download and fill out an application and deliver it to the Supervisor of Elections office. You can fax them in, or you can call and have somebody mail you an application. Deadlines. There are deadlines, unfortunately, associated with pretty much everything. Election Day is on Tuesday, November 3rd. You have to be registered to vote by October the 5th. So even though we have almost 7 weeks until the election, we have far less than that for you to be able to go ahead and register to vote.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So I called the Pinellas County folks, and I said, hey, mail me, this was weeks ago, I said, mail me my ballot. So I'm wondering, do I need to call them again? They haven't mailed me my ballot, or are they waiting to mail that ballot? I'm wondering.
They haven't mailed out. They haven't mailed out the ballots
yet. They haven't. Okay.
No, they have not. So now, if you're already registered, so you have till October 5th if you've never registered to vote. If you're already registered but you're requesting a mail-in ballot, you've got until 5 p.m. on October the 24th to request that mail-in ballot. Now, the law says that once you make a request for a mail-in ballot, they have 2 business days usually to turn around and get you on that list for mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
Now, there's some controversy right now about signature matching, because when you, and it's kind of funny because I laughed when I saw this. I've been voting by mail for some years now, and the reason why I do it is simply because I like to have time to go through the list of candidates and do my homework and my research to see who I want to vote for, who has views that I think are going to be good for the community and so forth.
Right on.
But be that as it may, so you have to fill out the ballot, and you stick it in the sleeve and you stick it in the envelope. The envelope folds down, and where you have to sign your signature line, it has like this crease in it, so it makes it very difficult to actually get a good clean signature. So I can see where this controversy is, because the signature on that ballot has to match what they have at the voters registration office or the Supervisor of Elections office. And so if it doesn't match, then they have 2 days to turn around and notify you by mail that it doesn't match, and they can send you a new ballot and you can resubmit. However, who wants to do that? You want to have it done. So make sure, I guess, to put it plainly, just make sure that whatever signature you used when you requested the mail-in ballot that's on their computer system, that you put on that ballot.
Let's take a quick pause there. All right, more from attorney Millie Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I love this idea of education, consumer action here, and consumer advocate advice about voting, all things voting here with Millie today on the Consumer Quarterback Show. More to come. Also, our feel-good story of the day: Domino's Pizza makes the largest ever donation to St. Jude Christian's Children's Research Hospital. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253. Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the show, helping you win in any marketplace. That's our game. Consumer Quarterback Show, 7 years on air and helping you understand your buying decisions. That's what we're passionate about. Talk about voting here with attorney Millie Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. She's a local attorney. A lot of our local area expert contributors support the show. We ask for you to please support our show and reach out. You know, if you need anything around the real estate wheel, we've got it. The legal wheel, we've got you covered. 813-750-0550. 813-750-0550. We've had an uptick in calls lately. People reaching out, want to find out how do they improve their credit scores? What do you think about a refinance, purchasing, all types of legal advice? We can put you in touch with the best in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida that we've assembled and we've vetted right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so we got Domino's Pizza's largest ever donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So they received $100 million from Domino's Pizza, the largest donor commitment in the hospital's history, and it's committed to raising money over the next 10 years. In honor of its historic pledge, St. Jude will name its newest housing facility the Domino's Village and will be located on St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital campus. So the housing facility will feature 140 fully furnished apartments, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms designed to accommodate different lengths of families' stay. And construction is planning to the spring of 2023. Domino's Village will provide a home away from home for those thousands of kids and families who come to St. Jude from around the world. So that's a very generous donation. Shout out to Domino's Pizza. Very cool. Good stuff right there. All right, so let's go back to attorney Millie Athanason here. Let's go through. She's given us some really good highlights on voting. I think a lot of the controversy too with Trump worrying about Democrats trying to sway the election and potentially cheating. What do you think about some of those things? Because as an outsider looking in, you say, okay, well, if they're mailing ballots out to everyone, which some states are doing that, who knows who's filling those out and whose signatures coming back? It gets scary. And then some people might say, oh, well, I'm going to double vote. I'm going to mail it in and I'm going to go in. And I heard they end up in handcuffs if that happens.
That is correct. You are only allowed to submit 1 ballot per person.
Yep.
And when they're turned into the supervisor of elections office, then they are documented that they've been received and counted. So once that's done and it's logged into the system, then obviously if you tried to come in with another ballot by the same person, that's going to get kicked back and you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So you definitely, don't want to go there. Now, what about if you make a mistake? Because, it can happen, you screw up, you're like, oh, no, I meant to vote for so-and-so.
Yeah.
Well, if that happens, then you can call the supervisor of elections office and they will send you another ballot. So you do have to do it within the time frames, however, that, the deadlines that I put on here.
Yep.
So you definitely do want to do that. Again, if you want to get a mail-in ballot, you've got to do it no later than October the 24th. Every ballot must be received by 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 3rd at the Supervisor of Elections office, whether you mail it in, bring it in person, put it in any drop box that's available. It has to be received by them at that time.
Because that's another concern, too, of this delayed with the COVID, with all the different things. It's going to be interesting.
It is. I mean, the United States Postal Service is saying that to be on the safe side, you need to mail it in at least a week ahead of time. I say definitely try to do it earlier rather than later, because God forbid if there's a mistake, and your signature got kicked back or something like that, that could be a problem. And to answer your question, yes, there's always a risk that there could be fraud or that somebody would try to copy your signature or something. That's a risk. I mean, certainly with the technology that's available today, they're trying to take the necessary safeguards. But, there's always someone smarter, it seems like, that comes up with some way to hack something.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be over time when they start to get those kinks out of the system to make it as secure as possible. But since this, in Florida, it's been going on for several years. So I think the risk is lower here than in some states where they're just kicking up their mail-in ballots. So I think there is going to be an adjustment period. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's such an interesting year this year with all the rhetoric flying back. It seems the politics are so divided, and I know on a local election level, the Hillsborough County voters, we voted to raise our own taxes multiple times here. It's like, come on, guys, what are we doing? We're voting to increase our own tax, and I think it gets into the wording of the ballot. Sometimes these ballots, they say they always write things to an 8th grade level. I don't know about some of these ballots. Seems like there's double negatives in there, and it's just confusing to some people, I believe.
Yeah, I have a law degree, and I have to double read some of these things. Okay, so
exactly.
I don't know about the 8th grade level thing, but it is. You really have to do your homework. That's why when I get the ballot, I like to take that time and go through it. And sometimes I'll look up the bill that's being proposed because online you can actually look up House bills and Senate bills in order to see what it is that they're actually doing. And I know that we all don't have time to sit and read the lengthy bill, and I know on the ballot they do try to summarize it, but if you're confused by it, it would be helpful to read it or at least talk to somebody about it to discuss the issue. But you're right, it is sometimes very confusing. Some of the stuff, is easy. Okay, are we going to legalize this or decriminalize that or what have you? That is easy. But like you said, sometimes with these ad valorem taxes and things like that, it's very confusing the way they write it.
Yeah, it is. What's on the ballot this year on the local level? Anything stick out in your mind as far as local stuff, or are we voting to legalize any kind of like the marijuana or anything like that this year? No, I think that's going to be in the very near future. Yep. What I've read, they're anticipating 2022. Yep. But no, not right now. Yep. Now, in some states they are not in Florida right now, but there are several states. I think Oregon's got a few on the ballot. And there's a few others I can't recall right now, but yes, they are. But the main thing, I try not to, because my mom always told me, don't talk about religion and politics, right? Yeah, exactly. It's so hard these days.
Right? So, my message here today is just for you to get out there and register to vote, and to have your voice heard. Because if you don't do that, you can't later sit back and complain and say, well, I don't like so-and-so in office. Well, did you vote?
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's kind of the message that I want to share. And I wanted you to know, too, I think this is important because a lot of elderly people are eligible to vote. They're not mentally incompetent. They're able to vote, but it's inconvenient for them to get out. You can have somebody pick up your ballot for you. You can actually sign an affidavit and have somebody in your family designated to go to the elections office and pick up the ballot for you. So even if you're elderly, there's actually a lot of services out there too in the community right now that will help you.
Well, we're running out of time here, so let's give them your website, athanasonlaw.com.
Yes.
athanasonlaw.com. Can you spell that for us?
Yeah, ATHANASON law.com.
Awesome. And that's Millie Athanason, attorney Millie Athanason. Yes. Great job, Millie. That was awesome. I appreciate you dropping that for us. And as we always say, we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And as Millie said, get out there and vote. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.